She admits that she's tired of everyone at the academy. Her classmates, overwhelmed and confused, especially by Ed's actions. She demands to know. Seeing her so upset, Ed calmly steps closer, places his hands on a simple breathing exercise. He encourages her to breathe deeply and slowly, if only for a moment. Feeling calmer, Phinia realizes how she notices that she has relaxed a bit and looks for a way to leave so he can continue searching and sadness from living in the royal palace. She talks about how hard it is to toll on her. Even after sharing her feelings, Phinia still wants answers. Because Taylor has a troubled background, and Ed wants a reason to be disowned by his, but he pretends not to understand. He avoids giving her a clear answer, mess up the story even more. Phinia becomes annoyed again. She demands to get Taylor expelled. Ed keeps dodging her questions, giving vague and without proof to confront him. She lets him go, though she remains suspicious. Tells her that while she needs to focus on the tricky politics, she also needs to rest. Here, she doesn't need to worry about everything all the time. Phinia is caught off guard so well. It leaves her curious, as no one has ever seen through her like that. Effect leaves Phinia and continues searching for Taylor, hoping he isn't too holding his broken sword, looking sad and lost. Just as Ed moves close, the main heroine of the game, she firmly tells Ed not to get any closer or further trouble. Isla blocks Ed and firmly tells him that Taylor doesn't need to deal with it. Then, something surprising happens. Taylor, despite looking defeated Ed with a determined expression, asking why Ed is still at the academy. After such a crushing setback, Taylor still shows his fighting spirit, that Taylor's strength lies in never giving up, no matter how strong the opponent. Taylor's childhood friend and biggest supporter, who is always there to motivate him and learn what Ed's real intentions are, Ed simply praises Taylor's swordsmanship during a genuine compliment stemming from his experience in the game, where he fought along to leave, telling Taylor he just came to see him and isn't planning anything. Without him, Ed feels relieved, not because the storyline is slightly off course, is standing strong. As Ed walks away, Taylor and Ayla glare at him to act cool despite everything. Just as Ed leaves, suddenly, a magic spell. Ed immediately recognizes the scene. In the game, this is daughter Lortel and Janica Failover. In the original story, but with the changes in the storyline, Taylor and Isla are now outside, maybe watching from outside. This duel is important because the winner becomes fierce. Lortel uses ice magic to stop the fire spirit Janica, melting it and striking Lortel. This makes Janica the winner of the match. Student has won. However, Janica notices Lortel being carried away by medics, uses an intermediate magic spell, which violates the rules. Fortunately for her, traumatized by what she has done to her opponent. Unlike in the original game story, with Janica becoming the only senior winner, protecting the pride of the past enrolled to get even more hectic for Janica, but he considers this a relief as it might mean to avoid further involvement with the main characters since getting tangled up with them at training quest. And Ed focuses on improving himself. He significantly survive without relying on any of the main characters. His physique, stamina. While bathing in the river, Ed spots Janica sneaking up on him. They sit together near the campfire. Janica expresses how much she likes Ed's for adventures. She mentions she needs his advice on something and asks for his honest instead of seeking help from her other friends. Janica explains that after Ed left the hall, however during the duel she accidentally used an intermediate level spell, which was he, and can't shake the thought that she overreacted. She doesn't want reassurance thing. Instead, she wants an honest opinion about whether she should apologize to her, and to apologize if she believes it's the right thing to do. While Jan's the perfect friend, feeling guilty or self-critical won't erase the mind, but that alone won't undo what has happened. Hearing Ed's straightforward opinion, she notices how much Ed has changed compared to the person he was last year. Keen observer. She remembers how, when Ed once asked her for money, his behavior subtly signaled her to keep her distance from him. Janica finds Ed wishes more people were like him, as he has become a source of strange but comforting himself in serious trouble as Lortel keeps following him and calling out to him why this is happening. The game, The Failed Swordsman of Sylvania, is considered its true ending. Most new players encounter bad endings early in the story. And characters. These choices lead to tragic outcomes, such as the hero. Lortel, in the early stages of the game, is a hidden hero assigned tired. Lortel is treated as a villain from the start. Her true nature and losing control of the narrative and risking a bad outcome, Ed decides to avoid her intentions, and to stay cautious about every decision he makes. As Lortel listens, she eventually steps in front of him, flashing an innocent angelic smile she has to say. Ed, clearly annoyed, asks how long she plans to expect him to ignore her for so long, gritting his teeth as if her presence didn't bother him. Ketchel is no ordinary student. As part of the elite, she is deeply all over the academy. Ed, however, has no interest in getting involved in her scheme. Resumes walking, hoping to shake her off. Undeterred, Lortel continues. She even offers to help him with anything he needs. Ed, unimpressed, yet Lortel refuses to give up. She steps in front of him again, him despite the rumors of him being arrogant and self-centered. To make her offer more worth an entire month's earnings for most students, and presents them as a down payment. Her offer, she wants Ed to be friends with Janica, with a sly, fox-like, saying that having more people on her side is always a good thing. Ed studies her golden daughter also buys her connections. Impressed by Lortel's understanding strategizing for control of the academy. Despite being a first-year student, Ed finds remarkable. He extends his hand for a handshake, acknowledging her ambition. He says that for people who have always been rich, even a small moment of fluctuations, even a small amount of money can make them abandon their pride. Taking advantage of desperate people is surprisingly easy and common, and he is not. After saying this, Ed pulls his hand away, places the coins back and amused by his cleverness. Ed feels frustration, knowing that accepting is altering the storyline. Lortel Ketchum doesn't feel insulted by Ed's risks all too well. In the game, she is the ideal business strategist. Her character is known to turn situations to her advantage in the game, enough failover into one of her allies for political benefits. At night, Janica visits, teasing that she hadn't expected a visit. It's their first meeting since their intermediate-level spell during the joint combat exercise. Acknowledging the injuries still visible, she expresses concern. However, Lortel brushes soon. Then, with a playful grin, Janica casually shifts the towel, adding a bit of dramatic tension. Lortel catches off guard what Janica is referring to. Janica, grinning knowingly, reveals spirits away from personal matters. They enjoy eavesdropping on conversations, at a loss for words. Seizing the moment, Janica asserts her seniority, using gold coins to gain allies. She emphasizes that sincerity and jealous. Janica then talks about Ed's approach, saying it was much more Janica laughs, feeling hilarious of herself for showing her authority as a senior. In Lortel's room, she says sorry again for hurting her during the training, remark hers, but she needs to keep working harder for it. As Janica leaves, Lortel as she seems. Behind her cheerful and friendly personality, Janica is old. But right now, Lortel feels Janica seems a bit different. Ed is hanging his laundry when a strong gust of wind blows it all down. It's caused by Ri, who once kicked him out of the dorms. Seeing how he's living now, positive changes in him. Ophelis Hall maids are known for their perfection in everything. Basket Bella's holding, filled with the finest ingredients she collected from the fort. To be so much shy as he can ask her anything he wants. Taking advantage of the moment, his crafting skills to make medicines, food, and other useful things. Seeing a craft new tools and food. At sunset, he sits and enjoys his hard work. Suddenly someone crashes down from the sky, destroying Ed's entire tent. Seeing his precious camp ruined, Ed is furious. He angrily tells Lucy it was Belle Maya who was moody for some reason, and got angry with her earlier for teleport to the only safe place she could think of, Ed's camp. Lucy complains she's hungry and asks Ed if he has any beef jerky. Furious, he gets surprised when the most powerful mage doesn't defend herself with a protect, which gives Ed the perfect opportunity. He decides to teach her a lesson for Ed is busy searching for a book to help him learn how to build a sturdier house using needed, planning the structure, and mastering techniques like smoothing wood and finish almost closing time. While he's packing up the books, a girl approaches him, thinking she might be the librarian apprentice. Ed quickly apologizes for that it's not a problem. She says seeing someone study so seriously motivates her to Islin, a first-year student in the Faculty of Magic. But when Ed tells her his name, Ed isn't surprised. He's used to people reacting this way because of his character's he seems very different from the rumors. She's especially amazed that he managed to read, and she admits it's hard to believe it's the same Ed everyone talks about. Before Lee trip back, as she has to return to her dorm to clean up, leaving Ed feeling a loud crash shakes the ground in the library, causing books to tumble from all around. It marks the start of the final chapter of episode 1 in the game. The main character, Taylor. Among them, Ayla, noticing the disaster, thinks of a summoning ritual for Glaskin, the highest-ranked dark spirit. One with a strong connection to spirits could summon Glaskin. And that person, now the final boss of Act 1, has lost control of the dark spirit. Understanding the gravity of the situation, realizes that the barriers protect him. Taylor steps up and urges everyone to head to the student center immediately. Chances of casualties will be extremely high, and the group must act quickly to ensure students not to worry. Explaining that the faculty and expert mages will notice. Elvira Aniston, an outspoken member of the alchemy faculty, urges immediate power is too dangerous to wait for help, especially since Principal Obel is out of town. Directly. Klebius, a combat department student and another key character, frightened by the immense power of the dark spirit. He explains that while intermediate high-ranked spirits, Tarkin and Velosfer, are also inside. Elvira grows more puzzled, questioning how Janica, still a student in the effort to summon Glaskin, the highest-ranked dark spirit. Spirits are natural enemies of spirit sorcerers. Their overwhelming power likely explains why Janica couldn't handle them. leaving her vulnerable to being overpowered. Using Janika's abilities to summon Glaskin with the help of Tarkin and Velocipher. As everyone debates the best course of action, Jix stands up and suggests that only Princess Phinia can devise a proper strategy. All eyes reflecting on Ed's earlier remarks about the burdens she carries and the importance of her plan. Only the top students from each year and the royal guards will vote to enter the building, free Janica, and stop the summoning of the highest-ranked. Princess Phinia encourages everyone to steel their resolve, promising to take fools up to her, panting and visibly distressed. He informs the princess that as they are already defending Audrey Hall to protect the potion archives from attacks, any other students who can help. Suddenly another student, a frightened girl, rushes in the library. She reveals that Elka, the librarian apprentice, and Jix immediately reacts. Grabbing the girl by the shoulders, he confirms Jix panics, stating that he must save his best friend. Immediately intervenes, commanding Jix to calm down. She reminds him that stopping Janica. Phinia assures Jix that Elka might be safe since a sophomore student is also with an unknown student, and how they can trust them to protect Elka. Phinia turns student in the library. The girl, shaking with fear, hesitates, unable to speak. Finally, in a shaky voice, the girl confesses that the sophomore in the library is in shock. The girl starts crying, apologizing for abandoning the library as Ed was staying late into the night, and his presence had annoyed her. Jix becomes infamous reputation precedes him. His anger and worry for his best friend advises Jix to relax and trust Ed for once. Her unexpected suggestion leaves find the advice amusing. Fueled by worry and rage,